second episode of Probability Philosophy. I'm your host, DL. First of all, I'd like to share a small milestone with you guys. It has been a little over a month, and the first episode has got over 100 plays on different platforms. And thank you guys. Thank you for listening to it. Thank you for listening to my rambling. Thank you for listening to my weird thoughts. Right. I know that I told that this would be a bi-monthly podcast, meaning 2 episodes 1 month, but I couldn't post the second episode for quite some time because I've been traveling and I was having just some other work which I couldn't avoid, basically. So yeah, now is the second episode. And also I listened to it later and I realized that the audio quality was not as good. So I've made a few changes to this one and I hope it is better. To drop a comment or DM me if you find this better. You guys be the judge of it and tell me if it's like an improvement or not. And one more thing before we get started with today's questions. A couple of you also texted me that having this in video format would be good because I also post this on YouTube and currently it's only audio on YouTube too. And I'm not sure how many of you would be interested in watching the video format, but yeah, sure. Just go to my YouTube channel. This episode will be out. Just comment something tacky or poggers in the comment section. Yep. You can find the link to my YouTube channel in the description of the podcast. And to the people listening to this on YouTube channel, you're already there, dude. Just comment if you want to see my face. Right. And I hope you guys had a good time. Past month, I hope the past month was kind on you. And I hope the future will also be kind on you. Let's take the first question today. It is from Nitya. He asks, what's your take on superiority and inferiority complexes and their effect on how we perceive things? Let me start off by saying that superiority and inferiority complexes, they affect a lot on how we perceive things. It not only mentally affects a person's behavior regarding certain things, but also physically. But that being said, there exist both in almost everybody, superiority and inferiority complexes. It is just that it becomes active in different people at different times. Now, when and why does it become dormant or active is a personal affair. We have two things here, so let's take one at a time. First, let's talk about superiority complex. What even is superiority complex? I mean, it's a behavioral attribute of a person that tells or suggests that they are superior to others in one form or the other. It is as if people with superiority complex feel that what they can do, that is their abilities and usage of abilities, the achievements outweigh that of others, which on first look might not seem that big of a deal. One might even think that they are just overconfident, but it is when you dig a little deeper, you'll find out that there is a lot lying under it. Now, superiority complex can also be termed as a defense mechanism that acts as a medium to hide the inferiority complex. Now, as weird as this may sound, from a point of personal experience and observation, I've seen that people who feel superior, more often than not, they also feel inadequacy in some form or the other. I'm not saying that everyone who has superiority complex masks their sense of underachievement or shortcomings, but many do. Now, you need to know that level of achievement or target that is set is all by themselves, but it has got a tinge of influence from the society they live in. So there is a significant amount of environment that guides a person. Now, talking about how it may affect the person going through it or with it. For starters, let's say that it will definitely modify the person's way of thinking and the model of approach regarding a few particular things in the beginning. Now, since a person themselves have been conditioned into thinking that they're not enough, it becomes ingrained in that person, in their mind, that what they do is not enough, which, depending on the situation, can be extremely wrong. Also, the fact that people with superiority complex tend to affect their surroundings because of the way they carry themselves. In a few places, that particular energy makes other people competitive in a good way and helps to improve. In some other situations, when there is excess of bragging about oneself, it tends to bring up the factor of jealousy amongst others. Not that bragging about oneself is wrong, but because that's how most humans are hardwired. I mean, we all tend to get jealous of stuff or things we really like but we don't have, right? And yeah, achievements may be something for some of us. So, to sum it all up, I'd say that the superiority and inferiority complexes are as real as they can be. For some, it's a phase, for others, it is a big chunk of their life. Both affect their brain directly. Superiority complex makes the brain think that they are an overachiever. And there is a saying, fake it till you make it. And it is pretty valid at this point. In case of inferiority complex too, the saying is valid, just that it is retrograde. You know, as they say in the great land of memes, it is evolving, just backwards. Right. That was my take. I hope you get it. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, Nitya. I know that this was a rambling, a complex rambling, which is which can be a little bit difficult to decipher, right? So heading towards the next question, this person asks techniques to relieve anxiety since lockdown boosted it. The condition is presenting itself in new forms, so something to understand or manage it would be great. Right. So, one prime reason I took this question is that I do not want to give any advice on this podcast. The reason is general advices, they don't always work well. Sometimes it can push you deeper into the sand. So, instead of advices, I might share something that worked for me or for someone I know. Just that I'll not be giving advices on this podcast, at least for the most of the time. Now, delving back to the question, I do agree that anxiety is presenting itself in different forms now because we haven't experienced things happening now ever before in our lives. None of us thought that we'd live through a pandemic, something that makes every person in the society a doctor, at least look like a doctor, and that kind of made quite a few parents happy too. Yeah, so it's different and difficult for quite a lot of people. It is just that to identify it is as peculiar as every person. And this is mainly because, again, of our surroundings. For some, identifying the key issue and the triggers is easy, whereas for a few, it is really difficult owing to the complex nature of the birth of the trigger. There are a few general things like that few psychologists recommend. Deep breathing and drinking water is one of them. Talking about things lets out a little too, but most important is to talk to a professional, because they are the one who can help you the most. You have both paid and free psychologists and psychotherapists to your service, and they are available in most of the places. If you can't visit a professional in person, try and arrange it online, because yeah, most of the services are available online too. A simple web search can give you an information about psychologists in your surrounding, and I hope that was of some help to you. Uh, in other news, if you guys have been liking what you've been listening till now, uh, a sub to the channel would be enticing. Yes, now treading ahead, at the rate Afifa Shamim on Instagram asks, being kind is. Sorry, she says that this is a statement. And yeah, this is just a reminder that whatever you are telling me or using the hashtag probably philosophy with, it doesn't necessarily have to be a question. It could just be a statement or a thought you have. Yes. So, Afifa says that being kind is hurtful when one is doing it with selfish intentions. Being selfish isn't wrong. Kindness is a selfless act, that's why we are hurt being kind. Because kindness doesn't beget kin. Neki kar darya mein dal is all about being kind without thinking about oneself. This is an interesting one. I'll start with saying that there are no selfless good deeds. Each and every action ever done by a human is an expectation of a response or a feeling. You know, there are things which seem really selfless, but actually they are not. Well, the level of so-called selfishness differs, but it does exist. Some do things to others or help others because it makes them feel better about themselves, which in no way is a bad thing. Talking about being selfish, it isn't wrong. Being selfish is just human. Speaking about getting hurt on being kind, it happens. That's why, as a child, we've been taught that whenever someone says thank you to us, which is in return of a little help that we offered, we tend to say welcome. But with time, we have evolved that to no worries or no issues. At least I have started to do that, and I know a few people who started to say that. And I was thinking about this a few days ago, or probably a few months ago, actually, at this point. Why do we even say that? Because you see, people who do stuff, they don't even have to do half of the things. They are not obliged to do even half of the things they are doing for you, which means that they are taking certain amount of pain. They are taking certain amount of efforts to do something for you, and that's something commendable. And in the end, when they say no worries or no issues, it's just that they're all right with the particular pain, pain in air quotations here. So yeah, it's all right. And neki kar darya mein dal is more like be kind and don't tell others. Both that phrase and a gentleman never kisses and tells carries a similar vibe. Every action has got like two sides to itself. Think of it as Newton's third law of physics that states that every action has got an equal and opposite reaction. For the good, there is bad, and for the bad, there is good. And then there lies the grey areas about which no one talks about because of its really weird and unique nature. I shall talk about it, but not today. Every step you have ever taken, everything you are doing, and all the stuff you will be doing in the future not only affects you both mentally and physically, but also your surroundings. So is the thing with being kind to others. Kindness spreads, and that's kind of kindness. And that brings us towards the end of the podcast, the second episode of the podcast. I hope that you guys liked it. And yeah, I'd be glad to hear reviews from you guys. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at the rate darklordspeaks underscore and Instagram at darklordspeaks. Those are the places where you can ask me your questions. You can either directly DM me the questions, or I'll be posting a tweet, or I'll be posting a story in which I'll be asking you guys for the questions or the statements, or you can even put it down in the comment section of the post in my Instagram. Yeah, so I hope to see you guys around. Until then, peace.